I want to bring up the new vaccines they admit they have that, quote, cure you of drug abuse. They admit it literally eats brain cells and eats the receptor sites. And the more advanced vaccines they give you that literally re-engineer the brain to make. Bob Chapman coming up at the bottom of the next hour to give us economic update on what's happening. Alan Watt going to come on and give us his view of this whole fear-mongering psyop. And then Niles Harrod, one of the nanothermite experts, exposing the fact that that was found in the WTC rubble. More and more peer-reviewed scientific reports coming out. They had one of the heads of the 9/11 Commission come out a month ago and say that they staged a meeting before the event, before the commission, with the military to lie about the stand down. That's now mainstream news. This stuff is all unraveling. Dr. Horowitz, there's these whole classes, as you know, but I want you to tell the listeners about them, of new vaccines that, quote, cure mental illness. They go in and attack certain areas of the brain. It's like programmed nanotech viruses is how I would describe it. And they go in and they eat the receptor sites for nicotine and heroin and cocaine. And folks don't believe me, just Google new vaccine to cure drug addiction. But then other scientists went, wait a minute, you won't be able to be happy anymore. Those receptors are for natural endorphins. And, what you would say would be spirituality. I mean, when you talk about wanting to control our souls, this is the next wave, isn't it?
Oh, that's exactly what Genito Pharmaceuticals is all about, Alex. It's the whole concept of vaccination, intoxication for population manipulation and decimation is really where the future of medicine they're heralding lies. And so it becomes literally a battle of nature versus laboratory. And I'm personally choosing, and I don't know too many people in my circle, my friends, my community, that feels like we want to give all of nature over to the manipulators. I think it's a hideous reality that we're looking at, and if you look at the true science, it's not science that they're giving us, in fact. It's actually pseudoscience. There's nothing scientific about their proposition that this flu just happened to naturally land up in Mexico, where suddenly, there's never been anything like it in history. How did that happen? And I also question what they're reporting at the World Health Organization, which is really, if you study deeply, the Rockefeller disease surveillance system. It was set up by the Rockefellers. Now, if people in the United States don't realize they're already working if they're dealing with Rockefellers, they're working with traitors against the United States. That happened during World War II, and history repeats itself when you don't learn history. So literally America is being taken out now with a globalist agenda and at the forefront of biomedicine and genetics and eugenics and vaccination policy and this whole disease surveillance at the World Health Organization. Study it. The origin of it is the Rockefeller International Global Disease Surveillance System. I wrote about that in the book Emerging Viruses, AIDS, and Ebola.
Well, you're absolutely right. In fact, we have all these medical doctors and scientists and historians on from wide-ranging fields, and they all come back to the same thing. The Rockefellers learned that most cancer was viral. They learned how to put it in the vaccines. They've caught vaccine makers hundreds of times, as you know, being caught doing it. And they think they're God with the GMO crops, with the vaccines, with all of it. What are they going to do as the world refuses to go along with them? They're going to stage pandemics in an attempt to scare us into going under their control.
That's exactly right. So really it is a holy war. It's a war against, not flesh and blood with whom we do battle. It's a spiritual warfare, and when you understand what genetics really is, it's water science. What makes DNA actually operate is the water molecules, the structured water within the genetic strand and around it forming a matrix that receives and transmits light and sound signals. So it's bio-spiritual or bioenergetic processing. It's a virtual antenna to the Creator. And if you don't believe me, read the brilliant research that's already come out that the authorities don't want you to see.
Well, that's why a lot of top atheist scientists are now saying there's something made this.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. I've told you for a long time it's important to be self-sufficient, and today that's more important than ever. We need to be independent, and food and water is the key. You'll never have to stand in a bread line if you have your own bread. You'll never have to go to the Superdome and beg for FEMA to take care of your family in any emergency if you simply prepare. No one is going to take care of your family in the final equation but you. You know eFoodsDirect.com is still able to ship storable food that's safe from E. coli, salmonella, genetic alteration, or Chinese imports. And they do it at almost half the cost of last year's grocery prices. Call 1-800-409-5633. Or on the web, go to eFoodsDirect.com. Visit eFoodsDirect.com and look over the fine list of high-quality, freeze-dried, and dehydrated foods they have to offer. Watch the free videos. Look at their online catalog. Or give them a call at 1-800-409-5633. Again, 800-409-5633. Or on the web at eFoodsDirect.com. Take action today. The first step is getting storable food.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
You know, we've seen all of these thousands of news reports over the years getting us ready for martial law, the police state. And now this is just one more step in that. But all over the news, the biggest stepping out we've ever seen. Oh, we're going to lock down your cities. We may have to lock down your towns. We're going to, we're going to give you orders. We're going to federalize things. The federal government doing all these unconstitutional things. We're going to forcibly inoculate you, just conditioning people and conditioning the local police to go under federal control to carry this out. Now, are they going to do it this time? I don't know. Could this still be a deadly flu? It may be, but more and more it's looking like hype. What an amazing crime by the media. A few deaths in Mexico, one death in the U.S., hyping it, lying about it, saying it was 200, 150, then having to back off of that. Some numbers say 7, 9, 12. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Meanwhile, 300,000+ people die of bad drug interactions every year in the U.S. alone. That's the government's own admitted numbers. It's probably worse, Horowitz would tell you. Dr. Horowitz, plug some of your websites, some of the work you're doing, some of the events you've got coming up about getting folks together, but also then I want to continue with the basics for people. What are you going to do if they try to forcibly inoculate you? What are you going to do if they come try to lock down your town? And then how crazy is it while the border's still open? I mean, if they're really saying it's this deadly, why leave the border open but then lock your towns down?
Well, the solution is where I'm focusing. I believe we have a tremendous opportunity to help humanity maximally. Live H2O, Concert for the Living Water. It's coming up June 19th to the 21st internationally. I've been working for 2 years. That's why you haven't heard much about it or anything from me for about 2 years. But when this flu thing happened, I had to come out with something. But go to liveh2o.org. I've been taking a lot of heat when I put up that YouTube thing that's gone viral. I took a lot of heat for adding a little oxysilver blurb at the end of it. But you know what? I will do it again, because if people understood how simple healing is, healing, all of it, happens because of the energy and the bioenergetics coming out of water.